everyone, my name is Leolyn Joriel and I'm from Group 4. So today I'm going to discuss to you our topic, which is the ethics and social corporate responsibility for business. I'm sure that our topic will find you interesting because it delves into the intricate connection between ethics and corporate social responsibility by shedding light on their pivotal role in shaping the modern practices. So let's start my presentation. So this is our topic, which is the lesson 4, ethics and corporate social responsibility for business. And today I will show you the different contents of ethics. The number 1 is the branches of ethics. 2. Difference between morals and ethics. 3. Principles guiding ethical decision making. 4. Types of management ethics. 5. Who is responsible for creating ethics in an organization? 6. Business ethics. And the number 7 is the ethical issues relating to business. So next is we have the intended learning outcomes. With the help of this module, the students will be able to identify the different branches of ethics, compare the difference between morals and ethics, discuss the principles guiding ethical decision-making, identify the types of management ethics, explain who is responsible for creating ethics in an organization, discuss business ethics, and last is give examples on ethical issues relating to business. Next is the ethics. Ethics is a set of rules that define what is right and wrong. When it comes from the Greek words ethos, means it is the character. It is a study of character and values. The nature of ethics has standards of behavior which tell us how to behave, which is not same as feelings. Ethics is not religion but advocated by religion. It is not law but law contains ethics. The purpose of ethics is to enhance our lives and our relationships, both sides and outsides of the organizations. So now, when we say ethics, it provides framework for individuals and groups to make choices that align with principles such as honesty, integrity, fairness, and respect for others. It also encompasses various ethical theories and concepts that helps individuals navigate complex situations and make morally informed judgments. Let's move on for ethics. Now, we have framework for understanding ethical theories. There are 3. Number 1 is the meta-ethics. Meta-ethics is the study of the nature of ethics. It considers where one's ethical principles come from and what they mean. Meta-ethical focuses on issues of universal truth, the will of God, the rule of reason in ethical judgments, and the meaning of ethical terms themselves. So it is the understanding ethical theories. When we say metaethics, it is a branch of ethics that focuses on understanding the nature, origins, and meaning of ethical concepts and statements. So the number 2 is the normative. Normative ethics is the study of ethical action. It deals on the practical side of the ethics, and also it tells the people what to do and what not to do. So normative ethics, it is also a branch of philosophy that can also provide guidelines for determining what actions are morally right and wrong. So the number 3 is the descriptive. Descriptive ethics is the study of people's views about moral beliefs. It also refers to presenting, describing but not interpreting, or evaluating facts, events, and ethical actions in specific situations and places. So, descriptive, it is the study that analyzes on how people, societies actually behave morally. So we have 2 difference between morals and ethics. Morals comes from Latin word mos, which mean customs or habits of persons' behavior based on societal norms and values. Social in nature. It means that they are set of beliefs and principles that guide our individuals. Based on customs. It is their basis in customs and their traditions. Accepted by religious or cultural institutions, It is also the institution that play a significant role in shaping and upholding moral values. Last is the general principles. It means that they guide individuals and societies of foundation for ethical decision-making and behavior. The ethics. Comes from the Latin word ethicus. It is a principles that govern humans' behavior. Number 2 is the personal in nature. This is also can lead to variations in how people prioritize and apply ethical principles in their lives. 3 is based on the personal aspects. Next is the personal principles. It is also the standards that individuals hold and use to guide their behavior and decision making. Last is the wider space. Personal principles. It is the standards that individuals hold and use to guide their behavior and decision making. Last is the wider scope. This is the broader scope beyond just personal of our principles. Next is the business ethics. Business ethics is defined as the study of how personal moral norms apply to the activities and goals of commercial enterprises. It is not a separate moral standard, but the study of how the business context poses its own unique problems for the moral person who acts as an agent of this system. The Laura Nash. It means that this business ethics is a guide that conduct our decision making within the realm of business, not only financial success, but also the ethical implications of actions on stakeholders, employees, customers, and environmental society.
So good day everyone, my name is Jermarie. I will be the one to report the Code of Business Conduct and Ethics. Code of Business Conduct and Ethics provides standards for professional and ethical behavior as well as to articulate acceptable and unacceptable conduct and practices in internal and external dealings. And it explains what behavior is expected of all employees and provides the standards that guide the work and of the company and how the employees should relate to customers, vendors, and to other employees. So when we say Code of Business Conduct, it is a set of rules that details an organization's values, ethics, and beliefs alongside the rules that govern legal compliance. It is also represent the principles and ethical standards that an entity upholds. Ethical principles and values. It focuses on regulating individual employee behavior. It is formal document. It covers specific areas such as gifts, anti-competitive behavior, and so on. Employees may be asked to sign that they will comply. It may be developed from third-party codes or use third parties for monitoring. It tends to mix moral and technical imperatives. Sometimes it does little more than describe current practices. It can be used to shift responsibility from senior managers to operational staff. Ethical principles and values. Most large companies adhere to the following ethical principles and values described as follows. So first is accountability. Taking full responsibility for business decisions, actions or inactions, and conduct. So accountability is essential for promoting a positive work culture, maintaining trust, and achieving organizational goals. The second is integrity, acting righteously, morally and legally, and under the highest standards of ethics. So integrity begins with being truthful, and honest in all interactions with customers, employee, partners, and stakeholders. The third is fairness. Uphold the value of justice and fair play amongst everyone we deal with, both internally and externally. So in business, you should ensure that employees receive fair and equitable compensation for their work. Uphold the value and truthfulness in everything we do, coupled with the quality of being open and scrutiny as we provide and disclose accurate material information in a timely manner. So, being transparent means providing open and honest information about actions, decisions, and outcomes. Principles guiding ethical decision making. Ethical issues involve dilemmas, and managers require some sort of guidance in resolving them. Many theoretical approaches to guide ethical decisions and behavior have been evolved. The theories of business ethics, which explain approaches to ethical decision making, fall into two groups based on traits, another based on methods of reasoning. So, an ethical issue is a problem or situation that requires a person who is between two options where both options are morally wrong. Ethical issues can be divided into three categories, which is the personal, professional, and social. So, for example, if the cashier at the grocery store gives me too much change, I may ask myself, if I keep the change, what harm is caused? Is any good created? Virtue ethics. Theories maintain that the habitual development of sound character traits determine the ethical value of persons. Individual character, work character, and professional character are covered by these theories. It focuses on improving the character or traits of the agent. Virtue theorists try to identify the list of virtues and give an account of each. They also explain why they are important. So, virtue ethics is moral philosophy that focuses on the character and virtues of an individual rather than focusing on rules or consequences of actions. It is an ethical framework that emphasizes cultivating and embodying virtuous qualities in order to lead a moral and fulfilling life.
And we have two features of business ethics. The ethical reasoning. There are two distinct sets of theories of business ethics that are found as given under. Number one is teleological ethics theories. It determines the ethics of an act by looking to the probable outcome or consequences of the decision. It can also be defined as the good ends and or results that determine the ethical value of actions, such as eternal law, hedonism, and utilitarianism. So this means that this teleological ethics theories involves the process of evaluating and making decisions based on our moral principles and values. Second is the deontological ethics. It holds that fulfilling obligations, responsibly following proper procedures, doing the right thing, and adhering to moral standards by determining the ethical value of an actions, such as universalism, distributive justice, and liberty. So this means that they are faced with a decision on whether to continue using a cheaper but environmentally harmful by manufacturing process to switch or to a more expensive and environmental friendly process. Next is we have the eternal law. Eternal law is such many church leaders and some philosophers, which is Thomas Aquinas and Thomas Jefferson among them, believe that there is an eternal law, incorporated in the mind of God, apparent in the state of nature. It revealed in the Holy Scripture and immediately of use to any man or woman who will take that time to study either nature or the Scripture. So this means that the eternal law in business ethics, it is the theories that could be the principle of honesty, integrity, on which they emphasizes the importance of truthfulness, the transparency, and the maintaining high moral standards in all business interactions, which is the religious leaders tend to emphasize the revealed source of the truth more than the reasoned nature. But they also believe that the state of the law is unchanging, and that the rights and duties are obvious. If we are to be loved, then we must love others too.
Hedonism is a philosophical concept that places pleasure as the ultimate goal in life. It suggests that we should strive to maximize our pleasure and avoid pain. Hedonists believe that pleasure is the only intrinsic good and everything else is valid for its ability to offer pleasure. Egoism, on the other hand, is a moral theory that states that individuals should act in their own self-interest, even at the expense of others. It suggests that people should prioritize their own happiness and well-being, rather than seeking to benefit others. Both concepts have their criticisms and limitations. Hedonism can be seen as trivializing certain aspects of life and prioritizing personal pleasure over the greater good. Egoism can lead to selfish and unethical behavior, neglecting the well-being of others. And it is up to individual interpretation and beliefs about what makes a fulfilling and ethical life. The hedonist principle is a philosophical concept that states that pleasure is the ultimate goal of life and that people should focus on maximizing their own pleasure and reducing their pain or discomfort. While this principle may lead to individual happiness, it can be criticized for promoting selfishness and ignoring the well-being of others. Also, pleasure can be fleeting and may not necessarily lead to long-term fulfillment. The might equal right principle, also known as the principle of nominalism, is a political theory that states that the legitimacy of political power is derived from the consent of the governed. In this principle, the ability to exercise power and to make decisions is related to the strength of the person or group exercising that power. The principle is often criticized for prioritizing the force rather than the morality behind political power. Also, whether the might equal right principle is just or not is up for debate and depends on individual perspectives and values.
Organization interest principle, which refers to the responsibility of an organization to prioritize the interests of the company as a whole over individual interests of employees or stakeholders. This principle is based on the idea that the success of the organization benefits all of its members, including employees, shareholders, customers, and suppliers. To ensure that the organization's interests are protected, it is important for leaders to make decisions that support the long-term goals and sustainability of the company. However, this principle should also be balanced with ethical considerations and social responsibilities, such as ensuring fair treatment of employees and contributing to the community.
Utilitarianism. The utilitarian view of ethics says that ethical decisions are made solely on the basis of their outcomes or consequences. It focuses on net consequences and not on individual intentions. It is termed utilitarianism, a philosophy originated by Jeremy Bentham, a British thinker. The philosophy, derived from the 18th century term utility, measures our preference for a good or service relative to price. It advocates for actions that bring the most good over bad, both long-term and short-term. The utilitarian principle provides a decision procedure. You should consider the happy and unhappy consequences when you decide on what to do. Universalism, a deontological theory. The deontological approach is the reverse of theological theory. The term deontology is derived from a Greek word deon, means duty, and logos, meaning science. Etymologically, deontology means the science of duty. Deontology says that individuals are valuable in themselves and not because of their social value. Distributive justice. Justice is felt to be the first virtue of social institutions. Our laws of institutions, no matter how efficient or accepted, must be reformed or abolished if they are unjust. Professor Rawls proposes that society is an association of individuals who cooperate to advance the good of all. Therefore, the society and the institutions within that society are marked by conflict as well as by collaboration. Personal liberty and rights. Robert Nozick, a member of the Harvard faculty, proposed the theory of personal liberty. This system is based upon the primacy of a single value. Liberty is thought to be the first requirement of society. An institution or law that is 15 violates individual liberty in making choices. Even though it may result in greater happiness and increased benefits for others, it has to be rejected as being unethical. Society is an association of individuals, and cooperation is essential for economic gain. It occurs through voluntary exchanges of goods and services, which are just as long as they are voluntary. Justice depends on equal opportunities for choice and exchange.
Personal liberty and rights. The principle that helps manager in decision making is disclosure principle. You act on the basis of how the general public would likely respond to the disclosure of the rationale and facts related to the decision, but not clearly illegal. So, the disclosure principle advises manager to think about how the public would react to their decision, promoting ethical choices and transparency. By doing so, manager can build trust, maintain the organization reputations, and make decisions that align with ethical standards. It doesn't mean revealing confidential data, but highlights the significance of anticipating public perception and ethical implications and potential public reaction before making decisions. Types of management ethics. Number 1. Moral management conform to high standard of ethical behaviors. Ensure making in decision acting based on ethical standard, emphasizing fairness and justice. It aims to benefit all stakeholders, upholding honesty, transparency, and accountability. Number 2. Immoral management, a style devoid of ethical principle and active opposition to what is ethical. Involves intentionally disregarding ethical principle, favoring self-interest, deception, and unfairness practice. It neglects stakeholder well-being and erodes trust by opposing what considered right or ethical. Number 3. Amoral management has two types of management. There are intentional and unintentional. Unintentional does not consider ethical factors. In intentional amoral management, ethical factors are disregarding in decision making regardless of alignment with right or wrong. It either actively opposes or nor prioritizes ethics. Unintentional is casual or careless about ethical consideration in business. It involves a casual attitude towards ethical consideration leading to decisions made without regards for their ethical impact. This neglect, while not malicious, can still lead to harm or unethical behavior in the business context. Who is responsible for creating ethics and organization? Creating ethics and organization is a collective effort that involves multiple parties. There are 7 responsible for creating ethics. Number 1. Leadership and management. Top leaders set ethical standards, demonstrate behavior, and influence that organization ethos. Number 2, human resources. They enforce policies, training, and values alignment in recruitment and advancement. Number 3, employees. Upholding ethics in actions and choice collectively shapes that organization ethical culture. Number 4, ethics officer or committee. Oversees compliance, addresses concern, and encourage ethical behaviors. Number 5, stakeholder. External parties impacts ethics by demanding transparency and fairness. Number 6, regulations. Industry norms and rules guide ethical conduct. Number 7, culture. Core values shape that ethical framework guiding behavior at all levels. Overall, an ethical environment results from the dedication of all stakeholders. A company manager play an important role in establishing its ethical tone. If manager behave as if the only thing that matter in profit, employees are likely to act in a like manners. A company's leader is responsible for setting standard for what is not acceptable employee behavior. It's vital for manager to play an active role in creating a work environment where employees are encouraged and rewarded for acting in an ethical manner. So, company manager holds a crucial role in shaping the ethical culture. If manager daw prioritize profit above all else, employees tend to follow suit. The company leaders set the standard for acceptable employee behavior, making it vital for manager to actively create an environment that promotes and rewards ethical action among employees. Business ethics. Business ethics means conducting all aspects of business and dealing with all stakeholders in an ethical manner. An integrity approach to business can yield strengthened competitiveness. It facilitates the delivery of quality product in honest, reliable way. This approach can enhance work-life by making the workplace more fun and challenging. It can improve relationship with stakeholder and can instill a more positive mindset that fosters creativity and innovation among stakeholders. So, business ethics involve conduct all business activities and interactions with stakeholders in an ethical manner. An integrity-based approach can boost competitive, ensuring honest and reliable delivery of quality. This approach also enhances workplace culture, making it more enjoyable and stimulating. It strengthens stakeholder relationship and cultivates the positive mindset that encourages creativity and innovation.
Business ethics is an essential part of any organization that is aimed at creating a sustainable and prosperous workplace. So, if dyan business ethics in the workplace or organization, dyan mga good benefits na maihatag. So, these are some of the benefits of business ethics in the workplace, which are the easier change management, strong teamwork and productivity, enhance employee growth, guarantee that personal policies are legal, helps to detect violations easily, and helps to manage values associated with quality management and strategic planning. So, amoy ni ang mga benefits if daoy business ethics or ethical behavior na mahitabo sa workplace. A code of conduct is only effective if it if it is properly communicated to all stakeholders and enforced consistently. Therefore, organization must create a culture of ethics that supports and reinforces the code of conduct, and must provide appropriate training and education to employees. Also, organization must establish a system for reporting and addressing unethical behavior, and must ensure that there are consequences for violating the code of conduct. There are 9 code of conduct in business ethics, which are the honesty and fair dealing, compliance with laws, conflicts of interest, safeguards, corporate entertainment or gifts, conduct towards colleagues, confidential information, accounting of funds, and proper use of property. Honesty and fair dealing. So, honesty and fair dealing is one of the extremely important in business and the workplace. So, the directors, officers, and employees should act honestly, ethically, and in compliance with all applicable laws, rules, and regulations, and should protect the name and reputation of the company. So, when people know that they can trust the organization, the workplace, or the employees, the directors, officers, and employees, they can trust them to be honest and fair with them. They are more likely to want to work with the directors, officers, and employees. So if there is honesty and fair dealing that promotes ethical behavior, now which can help the organization. So if there is honesty and fair dealing na tag-promotes ng organization ang ethical behavior like honesty and fair dealing, is makahelp ini sa organization to build a positive reputation and maka-create ng positive work sa environment. Additionally, maka-help inin to ensure the compliance with laws and regulation, which maka-help to protect their organization from legal and financial harm. And also, honest and fair dealings can help create a culture, integrity, and values which can contribute to long-term success and prosperity if the honesty and fair dealing na tag-promote ang iska organization or workplace. So employees, in honesty and fair dealing, dapat ang employees, the directors, and officers must act with integrity, honesty, and impartiality in all business dealings, and must not engage in fraudulent, deceitful, or unethical behavior. Compliance with laws. Compliance with laws. Directors, officers, and employees should comply with all applicable laws, rules, and regulations, both in letter and spirit. So, compliance with laws is very important for any organization, whether it's a small business or mga lagko na corporation. So, laws are put in place to protect individuals. To protect individuals, employees, consumers, the environment, and many other entities from harm. Dili ra kung part ng organization which is the employees or mga lagko na mga posisyon. It can also protect the consumers, the environment, and many other entities from harm. So, non-compliance with laws, which are these dealing with government, anti-sexual harassment, and insider trading that happen in the workplace, can have serious consequences. If dealing with government na tag-practice o dyan mga corruption na nahitabo between the company and between the company and the government is this is a non-compliance with laws, and anti-sexual or sexual harassment is one of the non-compliance with laws and inside trading. So this kind of non-compliance with laws can have serious consequences, including fines, lawsuits, and negative publicity. It can also put the organization and its employees at risk of legal action and damage its reputation if ay mga nanghitabo na mga unethical behavior or dili nagpromote ng unethical behavior or nagpromote ng unethical behavior rather. If the organization comply with the laws, the organization or ang organization maka-avoid ng these potential negative outcomes and demonstrate to stakeholders that is committed to acting ethically and responsibly. It also shows that the organization has values and prioritize the well-being of its employees, customers, and the community if nag-comply ng compliance with laws ang organization. And also, the organization is trustworthy and reliable if the kind of conduct na tag-promote ang organization, and which is can build trust with customers and business partners. Conflict of interest. There is a conflict when a director, officer, or employee has or appears to have a direct or indirect personal interest in any transaction, which may deter or influence him/her from acting in the best interest of the company. The same applies when their close relatives and friends have an activity or interest which may potentially conflict with the best interest of the company. So, conflict of interest. Employees must avoid conflicts of interest that could compromise their objectivity or undermine the organization interest. So, an conflict of interest is mo-occur if an personal interest or personal relationship ng tao maapektuhan ang desisyon or mga trabaho na in a way na dili makahatag ng benefits or maradya na benepisyo sa ila responsibilidad sa trabaho or dili makahatag ng benepisyo sa organization. So, if in a business setting, a conflict of interest can arise kung ang personal interest or relationship ng tao is makahatag bubot sa ila professional duties or responsibilities. Like for example, a conflict of interest might arise if one person is involved sa paghimo o sa pag-purchase ng decision para sa ila organization pero ija own stock na tag-purchase sa supplier. So, ang mahitabo idi na conflict of interest kay malid ang tao na nag-purchase ng ija stock sa making decision that instead na makahatag benepisyo sa ila organization, mas nakahatag ng benepisyo sa ila personal investment. Kaya amo lagi jaon nag-purchase siya ng ija own stock na invest na stock ra ng organization. Safeguards. A director, officer, or employee shall not use his position to make profit or to acquire benefit or advantage for himself and or his related interests. Employees must not take part in selecting, awarding, or administrating any contract to a supplier with which they have a personal transaction or relationship with them. Employees should disclose any relationship or association with, declare any interest, and withdraw from processes related to any issues that would result in a conflict of interest with a supplier. So, safeguards. Every director or officer or employee of an organization is dili dapat nila gamiton ng ila posisyon to make profit na instead na ay na mas makahatag ng advantage or mas makahatag ng benepisyo sa ila kaugalingon instead na mapunta sa organization.
Corporate entertainment gifts. Employees shall not directly or indirectly give, request, solicit, or accept any offer, promise, gift, purge, kickbacks, or other unlawful payment or benefit to secure any concessions, contract, or other favorable treatment the company. Ang mga empleyado ay hindi dapat direkta o hindi direktang magbigay, humiling, manghingi o tumanggap ng anumang alok, pangako, regalo, or kickback o iba pang labag sa batas na hindi nagbabayad o benepisyo upang matiyak ang anumang mga konsesyon, kontrata o iba pang pabrehadong pagtrato sa kumpanya. Next method, conduct towards colleges. Employees shall respect the chain of command within the company's organizational structure. Dapat igalang ng mga empleyado ang chain of command sa loob ng struktura ng organisasyon ng kumpanya. Employees must maintain a harmonious work environment where the sharing of ideas and discharge of duties can be done without the slightest hint of apprehension. Ang mga empleyado ay dapat mapanatili ang isang maayos na trabaho sa kapaligiran kung saan ang pagbabahagi ng mga ideya at pagtupad ng mga tungkulin ay maaaring kaunting pahiwatig ng pangamba. Next, confidential information. No director, officer, or employee should disclose any confidential information obtained from the company for personal gain or for the advantage of any other person. Walang direktor, opisyal o empleyado ang dapat magbunyag ng anumang confidential information nakuha mula sa kumpanya para sa personal na pakinabang o para sa kalamangan ng sinumang ibang tao. Accounting of funds. Employees should always be honest and accurate in recording transactions, business purpose, source and recipient of funds, the accounts to and from which the funds are transferred, and the entities and department accountable for the subject transactions. Ang mga empleyado ay hindi dapat palaging tapat at tumpak sa pagtatala ng mga transaksyon, layunin ng negosyo, pinagbulan at tatanggap ng mga pundo, ang mga account kung saan inilipat ang mga pundo, ang mga entidad at departamento na may panagutan para sa mga transaksyon.